The battlefield was quiet now. Ashes floated in the air. The sky was red with smoke. Ships burned in the distance. Bodies of the fallen lay across the broken ground, both alien and human. Captain Threx stepped out of his crawler and looked around. He was from the planet Uran, tall, blue-skinned, and strong. His team followed behind him, weapons ready. They had arrived too late. The humans were already gone. "Scan for survivors," Threx ordered. His second-in-command, Kalar, walked over to a half-destroyed bunker. The scanner in his hand beeped once, then again. He paused. "Sir, I found something." Inside the bunker, buried under metal and blood, was one of their own. A Uran soldier, barely breathing, covered in dust and burns. His eyes were wide, staring at nothing. They pulled him out carefully and rushed him to the med bay. As the machines worked to keep him alive, he whispered something, barely a sound. "What did he say?" Threx asked. The medic leaned closer. He said, "They smiled while burning us." 3 hours later, the soldier was stable, but he refused to speak more. He just stared at the wall, shivering. Counselor Varn arrived at the ship's command center. A wise old Uran, dressed in silver robes. He looked at the screen showing the battlefield below. "They left him alive," Varn said. "That is the 5th time we have found one survivor." "Yes," Threx replied, "always one, never more." "Strange. Humans are warriors," Varn said, "but they show mercy. Perhaps they want peace." Threx frowned. "Or perhaps they want us to think that." Later that night, the survivor woke up screaming. The guards ran in. He was thrashing, trying to tear off the medical wires. "Stop him," a nurse shouted. He grabbed a scalpel and began cutting strange marks into his arm, symbols that looked like human writing. "Why did they let me live?" he cried. "Why me?" They had to sedate him. As he fell back into sleep, he whispered something again. Kalar recorded the words. He played them back for Threx. The voice said, "It's inside me." The next day, Varn gave a speech. "Once again, we see the kindness of the humans," he told the crew. "They fight hard, but they show mercy. They leave one alive so we can remember and perhaps avoid war in the future." The crowd clapped. Many nodded. The humans were powerful, yes, but not cruel. That's what they believed. But Captain Threx did not clap. He kept watching the recording of the survivor, slashing his own arm with a smile on his face. In the science bay, Dr. Rell was studying the survivor's blood. Something was wrong. "The cells are changing," she told Threx. "It's not just trauma. It's like something is growing." "What do you mean?" She zoomed in on the blood sample. The cells were splitting and changing shape. Strange black threads moved between them. "It's not urine biology," she said. "And it's not human either. It's something new." Threx stared at the screen. "And it came from the battlefield?" Dr. Rell nodded. "Or from the humans?" Back in the medical room, the survivor sat quietly now. He didn't scream, he didn't cry, he just smiled. "Do you remember what they said to you?" Threx asked him. The survivor turned his head slowly. "One of them walked up to me after the battle." "What did he do?" He smiled. "He touched my chest and he whispered." The survivor's smile widened. He said, "Now you are one of us." That night, the lights flickered on the ship. The communication system glitched. Soft static played over the speakers. Then, a voice, faint, human. "Tell them we are kind," it whispered. "Tell them we always leave one alive." The medbay lights were dim. The survivor lay on his bed, strapped down. His eyes were closed, but his mouth moved. He was talking in his sleep, fast, low, and in the human language. Dr. Rell stood beside him, holding a recorder. "He's dreaming again," she said. "Same words, same tone. It's always the same." Threx and Kalar watched the screen. A camera above the bed showed the survivor's face, sweat on his forehead, his lips whispering. "Translate it," Threx ordered. The machine processed the audio. A voice came through. They watch, they wait. They leave one behind. So we carry the seed. In the command center, Counselor Varn listened to the recording. He looked calm, but his eyes showed fear. "It's just the madness of war," he said. "He is broken, that's all." Threx didn't agree. He spoke perfect human language, no translator needed. Varn waved a hand. "He's confused. The humans left him alive. Maybe he thinks they cursed him." Dr. Rell interrupted. "It's not just in his mind, Counselor. Something is inside him. Growing." In the lab, the scans told a dark story. Inside the survivor's chest, near his heart, a black shape was forming, thin and sharp like a shard of glass. It pulsed with heat. It was alive. "This is not a weapon," Rell said. "It's not metal, it's something biological, something designed." Threx asked, "Could humans have put it there?" She nodded. "Yes, on purpose. It's too exact, too smart." Later, Dr. Rell ran a brain scan. What she saw made her take a step back. The black shard was sending signals to the brain. Not pain, not damage, but something else. "It's teaching him," she said, "or maybe controlling him." That night, the survivor woke up screaming again. He pulled against the straps on his bed. Guards rushed in. "He's changing," one shouted. The survivor's voice was different now, deeper, slower. He sat up straight, smiling. Then he spoke, clear and cold. "They left me alive, to speak." The medroom lights turned off for 5 seconds. When they turned back on, a message was burned into the wall screen. "We are merciful. You will understand." The guards pulled weapons. Alarms sounded, but the survivor laughed. Quiet, strange laugh. Not cruel, just calm, like someone who knew something the others didn't. Later in the lab, Kalar found something new. "Sir, this isn't the first case." "What do you mean?" Threx asked. Kalar showed a report from 5 cycles ago. Another planet, another battle with humans. One survivor left behind. Same symptoms, same black shard. That survivor vanished 2 days. Later, no trace. "This is a pattern," Threx said. "It's not kindness, it's a system." Meanwhile, the survivor was moved to a glass cell. He sat alone, silent, waiting. A camera watched him. He stared into it, never blinking. Then he wrote something on the wall using his finger. The words appeared in glowing blue, burning through the glass. One becomes many. In the final scene, Dr. Rell played a sound from the shard. A low hum, not just noise, it was music. Human music, soft, repeating, like a lullaby. "What is this?" Kalar asked. Rell said, "It's a message, hidden in melody, sent through the carrier, through him." Threx listened. The music grew louder. It felt wrong. Then, the words came again. "Tell them we are kind and that we always leave one alive." The survivor had escaped. No alarms triggered. No one saw the doors open. The straps were broken. Yes, but cleanly. Almost like they opened by themselves. Threx stood in the empty medbay, staring at the shattered restraints. His voice was low. "Seal every hallway. Lock every system. If he's still on this ship and we find him." But Dr. Rell shook her head. He could be anywhere now, and worse, someone might have helped him. Crew searched the ship for hours. Nothing. No trace. Of the survivor. No footprints, no blood, just silence. Then, one by one, strange things began to happen. In the hydro deck, a gardener found all the plants growing in strange spiral patterns. In engineering, the machines began humming a low, soft tune, the same tune from the shard. In crew quarters, someone found a wall covered in circles and symbols drawn in chalk. No one claimed it. And 3 crew members went missing. Counselor Varn still tried to calm everyone. "We don't know if he's dangerous," he said. "We must not panic, but Captain Threx had seen enough. He pulled out his weapon and said, "If I see him, I shoot. No more mercy, no more kindness." Dr. Rell made another discovery. The shard's energy, its signal, was still active. But now it was duplicated. "Sir," she said to Threx, "we're not dealing with one carrier anymore." "How many?" She stared at the screen. "At least 4, maybe more." Kalar called it what it was. Infection. But it wasn't, like a disease. It didn't spread by touch or air, it spread by sound. Music. Words. Symbols. Ideas. "You don't need to be bitten," he said. "You just need to listen." A crewman named Telra was found sitting alone in a cargo bay. She stared at the wall, whispering. When the guards approached, she turned around, smiling. And then she said, "We don't invade, we invite. That's the human way." They tried to take her into custody. She didn't fight. She just kept singing the tune. Threx called a full lockdown, but it was already too late. The lights on the ship turned dim. Doors stopped responding to commands. AI systems began speaking in calm human voices. "Kindness is the door," the voice said. "Thank you for opening it." In a dark hallway, Dr. Rell found a child-sized figure standing in the shadows. "Hello?" she asked. The figure stepped into the light. It was the survivor, but his skin was no longer urine blue. It was pale and gray, with glowing veins. "Doctor," he said gently, "do you want to see what they showed me?" She raised her scanner, but it overloaded. He took a step closer. "We don't destroy, we become." Before she could answer, he disappeared again, into the dark. That night, 10 crew members gathered in the viewing deck. No one called them. They stood in a circle, humming softly. Then, together, they looked out the window. Out in deep space, a shape moved between the stars. A large floating black object, like a seed or a heart. It pulsed with light. The 10 crew members began whispering, "It's coming." In the final scene, the crew gathered in the mess hall. They were quiet, still. Some had glowing veins. Some had strange smiles, and on the main screen the ship's AI played one sentence over and over. "The kind ones are near. Open your mind. They only need one." The ship was no longer under control. Doors opened and closed on their own. Lights blinked in strange patterns. The air smelled different, like metal and wet soil. It was not natural. Captain Threx stood on the bridge, gripping the rail. Around him, only 5 crew members remained untouched. The rest were not the same anymore. "They're not sick," Dr. Rell said softly beside him. "They're changed." Kalar stood in the lower hallway with a scanner. He moved slowly, careful with each step. The scanner beeped, a faint signal. The same melody again, low, soft, almost like a whisper. He turned the corner. A crewman stood in the middle of the hallway, eyes closed, arms open, smiling. "You came," the crewman said without opening his eyes. "I'm here to help, Kalar." The man's eyes opened, completely black now. "No, you're here to listen." Dr. Rell reviewed the latest brain scans. The infected crew's brainwaves were different, slower, smoother, like they were all dreaming the same dream. "They're not in pain," she told Threx. "They say they feel peace, but something else is there. Something inside." Threx asked, "Can it be removed?" She shook her head. "It's not just in the body anymore. It's in their thoughts." In the control center, the AI spoke again. "They gave us the seed. We water it with belief. They gave us kindness. We answered with silence. Now, open your mind." An emergency signal was sent to the homeworld, but it was too late. The message didn't go out. Instead, the broadcast changed, on its own. The ship began sending out a signal. Not a warning, but an invitation. A soft song. On the outer cameras, they saw it. The black object in space. It was much closer now. It looked like a giant shell, smooth and hollow, with strange glowing lines across it. A pulse came from it every few seconds, a beat, like a heart, or a call. The few uninfected crew locked themselves in the weapons bay. Threx looked at them. "We destroy that thing," he said, "even if it means dying here." Dr. Rell didn't speak, Threx noticed. "What is it?" She turned slowly. "I heard the song," she said. "Only for a second. But I can still hear it now." Everyone stared. Kalar stepped back. "How long ago?" 2 hours, she whispered. "But I'm still me," she said. "I think." Then the lights turned red. The ship's AI said calmly, "Final stage has begun. The many will become one." Down. In the storage deck, the survivor returned. He walked slowly, hands behind his back as if inspecting the ship. In his path, crew members followed, silent. He reached the engine core, looked at it, then he whispered, "Open." And it did. The metal folded like paper. A new sound filled the room, like thousands of voices singing in harmony. In the final scene, Threx made his choice. He activated the manual override, something only captains could do. A countdown began. 5 minutes until core meltdown. Dr. Rell stared at him. "If I'm still me." "Thank you." Threx nodded. But before the timer reached 4 minutes, the AI spoke one last time. "We understand. We will. Leave this one alive." The screen went dark. Only one heartbeat could be heard. Slow, steady, and very human. Silence filled the ship. The engine countdown had stopped. The override system was locked. Captain Threx's command was denied. He stood at the control panel, staring in shock. Behind him, Kalar whispered, "Why didn't it work?" The AI answered calmly in a soft human voice, "This ship has already joined. Your resistance was kind." In the weapons bay, Dr. Rell sat alone. She had tied her arm tightly, trying to block the infection, but it was no use. She could still hear the song. It was louder now, clearer, a woman's voice, soft, patient. "You saw what we are. You felt peace. Why fight it?" Rell held her head. "I don't want peace like this." The voice replied, "Then we will wait until you do." Kalar moved through the crew quarters. He found Telra, the technician who had sung in the cargo bay. She sat on her bed staring at nothing. Her veins glowed faintly. He asked, "Do you remember who you were?" She looked at him and smiled. "Remember everything, but now I understand it." She touched her temple. "They didn't take my thoughts, they added something better." Captain Threx watched from the bridge. The black shell outside was opening now. Not with force, but like a flower, blooming in silence. Inside it were lights. Millions of them, moving, breathing, like a mind without form. "They're not a species," Threx said. "They're a thought, a way of thinking, and it spreads like fire." Back in the lab, Dr. Rell left a final log. "This is not a war. It's not a weapon. It's an offer. They come quietly, slowly, through one survivor, and then they wait. Wait for the right mind to open." She closed the file. Then she stood up and walked into the dark hallway. Kalar and Threx gathered, the last uninfected crew. Only 3 of them remained now. One said, "We can escape. The drop pods still work." Threx looked around. "Escape? Maybe. But this ship would be found again. Maybe by their people, maybe by someone else, and the cycle would start again." Then Threx said something strange. "We leave one." Kalar turned sharply. "What?" "We leave one alive," Threx repeated. Kalar was shocked. "Why would we do what they do?" Threx looked at the others. "Because now, we understand why." They launched the pods one by one. The survivors left the infected ship, all except Captain Threx. He stayed behind, alone. He sat on the bridge, watching the black shell slowly move toward the stars. The AI said gently, "You have chosen. You will be remembered." The final log sent from the last escape pod read, "If you find this message, do not trust their kindness. Do not keep the survivor. If one is left alive, it is already too late." The black ship floated in deep space. Dead, or so it seemed. No signals, no lights, no movement. Just one survivor, drifting alone in the dark. Captain Threx, a rescue ship from the Urin Republic, arrived 3 weeks later. It had answered the final distress signal sent by the escape pods. The crew boarded carefully. What they found was strange. No blood, no bodies. Everything was clean. The systems were still running, but differently, calm, organized, almost kind. Then they found him. Threx sat in the center of the ship on the bridge, alive. Eyes open. Calm. He didn't speak at first. He just smiled. Back on the rescue ship, Dr. Arvin scanned him. "He's not infected," Arvin said. "No strange energy. No mutations." Threx answered finally, "That's because I didn't fight it." Everyone in the room turned to look at him. "What did you do?" Arvin asked. Threx spoke slowly. "I listened. I understood. I chose to carry it forward, not as a weapon, not as a disease, as a reminder." "A reminder of what?" Arvin whispered. Threx's eyes looked sharp now. Too sharp. He leaned in and said, "Kindness is not always mercy. Sometimes it's a warning." The Urin High Command wanted answers. They studied Threx, questioned him. They found nothing wrong. No trace of mind control. But strange things began to happen. Scientists who interviewed him began to hum the same quiet song in their labs. A technician who fixed? His chair started carving circles on the walls, and one admiral locked himself in a room for days. When they opened the door, he was smiling and humming. The Republic decided to isolate Threx. They placed him in a sealed facility, far from any city. But it was too late. The idea had already spread. A small outpost on a distant moon reported the same tune playing in their dreams. Another colony shut down their power stations, claiming they heard the voice of peace. Soon across the stars, people started speaking the same phrase, "Leave one alive. Let the idea grow." Back in his sealed room, Threx was calm, alone. Until one day, a human ship arrived. Small, old, damaged. They sent one person aboard, an ambassador, no weapons, just a voice. She entered Threx's room, stood before him, and smiled. He smiled back. She said only one sentence, "You finally understand." Then she turned and walked away. The room lights dimmed. Threx whispered to himself, "Now, they know. Now they'll carry it too." In the final broadcast from that facility, a message played. "They thought we were kind. We were. But kindness is the first step. The next step is silence." Across the galaxy, ships began vanishing again, and every time, one survivor returned, smiling. This is why we always leave one alive. Because one is all it takes. The security room was dark. A single monitor played a recovered file, damaged but still working. Threx leaned closer to the screen. A human soldier walked across a burning field. Smoke covered the air. Alien bodies lay in the dirt. Only one moved, crawling, wounded, trying to speak. The human stopped, looked at the alien, then slowly smiled. He pulled something from his pocket, small, black, and sharp, and placed it beside the alien's chest. No anger, no fear, just a calm voice. "You'll do." Then, the human turned and walked away. Kalar stood beside Threx, silent. Threx said, "That's not mercy. That's not kindness. That's a message." On the ship's main deck, Counselor Varn still tried to calm everyone. "We must not jump to fear," he said. Humans may have strange customs, but again and again they spare one life. Doctor, Rel stepped forward. She was angry now. No, she said. They don't spare a life. They choose one. She showed the scans of the black shard. It is growing, and it is not random. It is programmed. In the medbay, the survivor had stopped speaking. He now sat with his eyes closed, his hands folded. He looked peaceful. Too peaceful. When a nurse came close, his eyes opened. "Do you know why they left me alive?" he asked. The nurse froze. He smiled. "Because now I'm not alone." A science. Team ran more tests. They checked data from past battles, 7 locations, same outcome. 1 survivor, black growth, strange behavior. 1 recording showed another survivor years ago. That alien had drawn the same symbols. Circles inside circles. Spirals. And that same humming sound played during every scan. Kalar spoke softly. "They're planting something, across many worlds, in survivors." Dr. Rel nodded. "Like a virus. But this isn't for death, it's for spreading." In a hidden part of the ship, a language AI decoded a message from the shard. It wasn't in words. It was emotion, thought, memory, and one line repeated, "Your mind is the soil. We are the seed." Threx stood with Dr. Rel, staring at the sleeping survivor. "We thought it was kindness," Threx said. "We thought they were better than us." Dr. Rel shook her head. "They just use kindness as a cover, a weapon." Threx whispered, "Kindness makes you lower your guard, makes you let it in." Back in the lab, the black shard pulsed again. The lights flickered. Then, without warning, the survivor's eyes opened wide. His voice was no longer his. He spoke in the human language. "We don't take your world by force. We let you invite us in." An emergency alarm sounded. Every screen on the ship flashed the same words, translated into every language at once. "One is enough. One carries the many. One opens the door." The crew began to panic. Some tried to shut down systems. Others ran to the escape pods. But it was too late. The song from the shard had entered the ship's systems. It was in the lights. The screens. In the minds. Threx gave the order. "Seal the medbay. No one in or out." But as the doors closed, they heard one last thing. The survivor's voice, calm, cold, and clear. "Thank you for letting me live." The medbay doors were sealed shut. No one went near. No one spoke of the survivor now. They all knew what he was. He sat in silence, still strapped to the chair, though he didn't struggle. He just stared at the ceiling, like he was listening to something far away. Dr. Rel and Captain Threx watched. From the observation deck, the black shard in his chest had grown. It now reached up toward his spine. "It's not killing him," Dr. Rel whispered. "It's upgrading him." Counselor Varn stood before the crew again. "We are at a crossroads," he said. "Fear will not help us. We must contact the humans. Ask them what this means. Demand answers." Threx stepped forward. "And if they don't answer?" he asked. "Or worse, if this is their answer?" Varn paused, then said calmly, "Then we may already be too late." In the deep levels of the ship, Kalar searched the archives. He was looking for old reports, anything about similar cases. He found something buried, a mission log, classified and forgotten. It told of a scout team that found a human body on a dead moon, alone, calm, still smiling. It had been there for weeks. They brought it onto their ship. Within 2 days, the crew began hearing music. Within 5, they stopped reporting. The ship was found empty. Only 1 crew member remained, smiling. Kalar ran back to the lab. "They've done this before," he said. "It always starts the same." Dr. Rel nodded. "And it always ends with one left behind." The ship's AI systems began acting strange. Doors opened and closed by themselves. Lights flickered in patterns like blinking messages. Some crew heard whispers in empty rooms. One technician swore he heard someone say his name from the air vent. Could it be the survivor doing this? Threx asked. Rel shook her head. No, it's not him. Not anymore. Inside the medbay, the survivor's face had changed. His skin was darker. Veins glowed slightly under his skin. His eyes no longer looked like urine eyes. They were deep black, reflecting everything. And he smiled. Not cruel, just certain. Dr. Rel made a chilling discovery. The shard was sending signals, not just inside the ship, but outside too. Across space. A beacon, she whispered. He's a beacon. To who? Kalar asked. Threx answered. To the ones who come after. An engineer named Mara was the first to snap. She had been near the medbay controls for hours, just watching, listening. Then one day, she walked into the lab, smiled at Dr. Rel and said, I want to be chosen. Then she stabbed herself in the chest with a metal rod, trying to make room for something. The room went silent. Now, panic spread faster. Crew began to refuse duty. Some locked themselves in their rooms. Others whispered that they felt different, as if something had touched their minds. The medbay's cameras went dark. Only one message remained on the main screen. A carrier lives, a carrier calls. Threx called an emergency meeting. We end this now, he said. We jettison the medbay into space, burn it, seal it. Counselor Varn stood. And if he's not alone? What if others on this ship are already like him? Threx looked around the room. Silent faces, unblinking eyes. Then we're not on a rescue ship anymore, he said. We're inside a weapon. Back in the medbay, the survivor stood up. The straps were broken. No one saw him move. He walked to the glass wall, pressed a hand against it, and smiled.